Well, hello and welcome. I hope your week is going wonderfully so far. And today we are talking about walking gait. So, not your garden gait, but the way that you walk. And I want to get into five different signs that your gait is off, five things you can kind of check for yourself to see if you are walking fluidly in a well balanced way, naturally, efficiently, or if you might be walking in a way that is imbalanced or wonky or potentially contributing to pain and injury and things like that. So, thanks for joining me. My name is Linnea. I have a studio here in Olympia, Washington, that is a Pilates and personal training studio focused on functional biomechanics, specifically the biomechanics of how you walk, and integrating that with corrective exercise and restorative Pilates. And so I want to get into this idea of kind of using this awareness around how you walk as a way to better understand just simply how your body moves, whether that's in sports and athletics or whether that's just in life, right? So you might not necessarily have pain when you walk. What I hope you don't. But even if you don't have pain when you walk, we can still use kind of the mechanics of walking as kind of a litmus test, right? In terms of functional movement, in terms of primal movement patterns, walking is something that ubiquitously across the board, there's absolutely no question the human body has evolved to walk, right? So if we're looking at the way that your bones move, the way that your bones function, your joints, your muscles, all of this has evolved over millennia to set you up in a way that is supposed to be functional and efficient and all of these things to help you walk and run well. So even if you're not a big walker or hiker, even if you're not a runner, we can still use kind of your walking pattern as a way to better understand how your body is moving currently in anything that you do and what might be missing from just a well balanced, aligned body. So you might have pain when you twist and bend over to pick something up, or you might have back pain from sitting at your desk for a long time, but we can still look at the way that you walk as a way to help kind of better understand what your body needs to feel better. Okay, so that is where this is all coming from. So let's get into it. Okay, so five simple signs, five simple things that you can do on your own to just kind of gain a little bit of awareness and see for yourself if you might be having some imbalances with just kind of your primal movement patterns, right? Okay, so the first one is what we call stride length. So that's like how far of a step do you take? How big of a step do you take? And the stride length might be different with one foot coming forward than the other. So, for example, if your right leg is coming forward and you're about to step onto your right foot, you might have a really long stride length. And then when you step forward into your left foot, it might be a little bit shorter. Okay, and that's something that we're not, all this stuff is so subconscious because most of us take thousands and thousands of steps every day, right? Ideally, you're getting about 10,000 steps in every day. So also talk about a repetitive movement. If something is wonky and off and out of balance in the way that you're walking, it can really just be kind of reinforcing these kind of poor movement mechanics into your body every single day without us really even being aware of it, right? Because it's so habitual and it's so ingrained that we don't even notice. So, okay, so this helps you notice, okay? So if you kind of just find a little bit of a strip, could be a hallway in your house, could be outside in the yard. I like to suggest an area where the floor is relatively flat and you can be barefoot. So that's like the best, but just whatever space you have, it doesn't matter. Shoes on, socks on, it's all good. Just notice your stride length, right? Is one leg kind of stepping forward bigger than your other leg? Are you taking a bigger stride length on one foot more than the other? Okay, and then the second one is to pay attention to your arm swing. And, there's a lot I could say about arm swing. Essentially, we just want it to be balanced, right? We want both arms to kind of swing straight forward and straight back relatively. We want that to kind of help facilitate a little bit of a turn, a little bit of a twist through the torso, and we want that to be even on each arm, right? So things that can happen is that kind of probably the thing I see the most is that one arm will really move. Like you'll see one arm just swinging away, and then the other one is just kind of quiet, right? So that obviously is a little bit out of balance. The other thing that you might notice for yourself, so you're just trying to let it be whatever it is. We're not trying to change any of this stuff. This is just a little bit of an awareness meditation, kind of moving meditation game that you can play with yourself. Another thing that you might notice with your arm swing is there might be sort of like a twist to it. So you might notice that as one arm swings forward, it kind of wants to cross over your body. So there might be, instead of like a straight forward and a straight back kind of thing, you might have like a little bit of a bias to kind of turn one way. And what that can start to show us is that you might kind of have this arm swing that pulls you into a twist where you twist mostly one way, but you never really like twist the other way, for example. So if you find that your arms are just kind of coming across your body always just in one direction, but not really that other direction, then you can see how that would be putting undue wear and tear and stress on your joints and your muscles kind of just only in this one direction without being balanced going both ways, okay? So that's your arm swing. Plenty of other things we could touch on there, but those are the two big ones that are also kind of the easiest to just notice for yourself, right? And then the third one, right? So the third sign that your gait might be a little bit imbalanced is to simply notice your foot pressures. So if you've been in my circle following me, you've heard me talk about foot pressures, but if not, then this might be kind of a new term for you. So basically all you do is you just stand and you just feel where the weight of your body is going down into the floor, right? So I call that foot pressures. You might notice that you have like more weight in one foot than the other. Lots I could say about foot pressures, but especially if this is new to you, then just take kind of an initial baseline moment to just be kind of curious and see like where's the pressure from your body going into the floor via your feet, right? It might be all the way in your left heel and nowhere else. And if that was true, then that would be a sign that your gait might be a little bit imbalanced. Okay, so see what that is for yourself. You're not trying to make it the same, you're just trying to notice. Okay, and then this one is something that I noticed for myself. So it's sort of similar to the stride length that I was talking about before, but you can think of it as like this one I'll do when I'm walking and I'll look down and I'll just kind of see where my feet land in front of me. And so this idea of like where do your feet land in front of you? And you can kind of think of this one as like the tightrope one, okay? So very common that we have one leg that likes to land on a tightrope. So you might notice your right leg comes forward and it lands off to the right, and then your left leg is like boom in your center line, and then right leg's off to the right, and then boom, your left leg's in your center line. So even with that, you might sort of find that you end up walking a little bit diagonally, right? I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but even if you're just walking straight ahead, you might sort of notice that you have one leg that always likes to kind of come in towards your midline more when your foot lands on the floor, and that one other leg might not do that. So you might have both legs that land on a tightrope when you walk, or it might be a little bit kind of biased towards one direction or towards the other direction. Okay, so that would definitely be a sign of like, what's going on there? Why does that one leg just really want to draw in, whereas maybe the other leg really likes to be wide? Okay, so, and I hope this is interesting to you. I hope it's like it should feel kind of fun. So even if you're doing these things and you're like, oh my gosh, I walk on a tightrope, I have that one leg that comes in. Um, it's nothing to be scared about. It's nothing to be worried about. So, more than anything, I want to encourage you to kind of think of these as little movement experiments that can just pique your curiosity and help you just have some awareness, kind of sparkle up your awareness and your curiosity around, like, oh, what's going on with my body, right? Okay, so our fifth one is to just walk in place and to really lift your knees up really high. So you're just going to walk in place and think of a little bit of a lift in the knee as you walk in place, right? So not like a slow, lazy walk in place, but like a little bit of a power walk in place. Obviously, don't hurt yourself, so just do whatever works for you. But as you walk in place, you can kind of notice what happens in that moment when you're kind of standing on one leg, right? So there's the standing leg, and then there's the foot that would come up off the floor, right? So it's just a nice way to kind of mimic without being on a walk and walking up a hill and being distracted by the neighbors and the dog. If you just walk in place, it's sort of a nice way to feel for yourself, like, how do you transfer your weight from one foot to the other and back and forth, right? And just doing that, you might notice that you've got like one hip that kind of likes to sort of sag or sway out to the side. Or you might notice, like, wow, whenever I'm on my left foot, it feels really imbalanced and wobbly, and then my right foot is steady, and then wobble, 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 and then steady. You might notice something at your knee, like, wow, whenever I stand on my right leg, my right knee does this weird thing, and my left leg just feels normal. It might be vice versa. So you're just going to use that little movement experiment there of walking in place to just sort of feel like, what happens with my right leg, what happens with my left, what happens with the right leg, what happens with the left. Okay, so that should give you a lot of fun, interesting things to dig into and be curious about. And the beauty of this as well, we all jump to conclusions and we all want to immediately ask the question, like, what do I do with this and how do I fix it? But the beauty of this is really that you can just use it to gain awareness, right? If you go into a chiropractor or a personal trainer and you say, my knee hurts, that's going to be good information. If you go into a movement professional and you say, my knee hurts and I notice that it's the right knee that hurts and I have a longer stride length when my right leg comes forward and my arms do this weird thing and my foot pressures are here, and check out this, like, really this thing happens when I walk in place and I notice that my right knee does this thing, right? Like, that's gonna like already be, you're gonna be leaps and bounds kind of further ahead, because you'll be coming to that movement professional with a lot more information, a lot more awareness for yourself of what's going on, but you'll also be bringing that professional a lot more to work with, other than like, here, doc, it hurts, right? So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you find that interesting. 5 signs that your gait is off. And so if you do notice something, if this piques your interest and curiosity, if you want to get a second pair of eyes on this and see what might be going on and start to tinker and resolve and find maybe a little bit more balance in your body here, then I'm happy to announce that I've got some more openings for one-on-one clients coming up in September. There's a link below, so check out the link, and there's a waiting list for that. So I'm not quite yet in the place where I'm booking people in actively. I'm actually switching over my scheduling software. It's going to be so much better once it's up and running, but I'm launching that September 1st officially. So come early September, I will be reaching out to folks. And I love to start with a free consultation. So there's absolutely no strings attached. You can just sign up for a free consultation, and that gets the ball rolling, where we can just have a nice, chat about what's going on for you. So all of that you'll find by just signing up for the wait list. Follow the link down below, and comment below. Send me a DM if you discover something from these 5 little exercises and movement experiments. I'd be so curious to know what you discover. So happy moving. See you guys next time.